As pop singer David sits in jail charged with the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the LA County Medical Examiner is releasing the official report on her death.
And Mark Robles joins us now live at the studio tonight with new reaction from the girl's family. Mark?
Yeah, David and Giovanna, the details are deeply disturbing. This medical examiner's report, unsealed by the court, confirms 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez was stabbed to death.
Somewhere in the Hollywood Hills, a Tesla sat abandoned on the side of the road. Nobody called it in. Nobody flagged it as suspicious. It was just a car, one of thousands in Los Angeles, parked and still and unremarkable. Eventually, it got towed to an impound lot. And that's where it sat, for days, until workers at that lot started noticing something coming from inside the trunk. A smell. Inside that car, investigators found the remains of a 14-year-old girl. She had been dismembered. And the car belonged to one of the most promising young musicians in the industry, a singer whose biggest song was literally called Romantic Homicide. But here's the thing that will haunt you for the rest of this video. That girl had a name. She had a family. And she had already tried to tell someone what was happening to her long before that trunk was ever opened. Stay with me, because this story is nowhere near as simple as the headlines made it sound. If you've been here before, you know we don't do surface level, we go all the way in. And if you're new here, welcome. You picked quite a video to start with. Before we get deeper into this, do me a favor, hit subscribe and drop a like on this video. It genuinely helps us keep making content like this. And if this story moves you the way it moved me, share it. Celeste Rivas Hernandez deserves to be more than a headline. Alright, let me take you back to where this all began, long before that car was ever found. Celeste Rivas Hernandez was 13 years old when she first went missing. 13. 7th grade. The age where most kids are figuring out who they are, what music they like, who their real friends are, what kind of person they want to become. Celeste was at the very beginning of all of that. She lived in Lake Elsinore, California, about an hour southeast of Los Angeles. She had a family who loved her, a mother, a father named Jesus, people who noticed immediately when she wasn't where she was supposed to be, people who didn't just wait for the phone to ring. They went looking. The first time she was reported missing was in March 2024. She came back. Families exhale. Life resumes. You tell yourself it was a phase, a teenage moment. You hold on tighter, and you hope. Then, on April 5th, 2024, Celeste went missing again, and this time, she didn't come back. Her family didn't sit still. They met with police repeatedly. They pulled up neighborhood surveillance footage themselves, frame by frame, looking for any trace of her. They knocked on doors. They begged friends and neighbors for information. They did everything parents are supposed to do when a child disappears. In May 2024, Celeste called home. Just once, her family heard her voice. After that, call nothing. Silence. For months. And here's the detail that sits differently once you know the rest of the story. Before she disappeared in April 2024, Celeste had told her mother she had a boyfriend. His name, she said, was David. Her mother had never met him. September 2025. A Tesla is found abandoned in the Hollywood Hills. No plates flagged, no immediate report, just a car sitting on a hill in one of the most photographed zip codes in America. Unremarkable. It gets towed. Standard procedure. It sits in the impound lot for a few days. And then workers noticed the smell. When investigators opened that trunk, what they found required the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office to work carefully and methodically to identify the victim. The remains had been dismembered. The cause of death, later confirmed by the medical examiner, was listed as multiple penetrating injuries caused by an object or objects. The manner of death, homicide. She was identified as Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Her official date of death was recorded as September 8, 2025. She would have turned 15 the very next day. One day. She was one day away from her 15th birthday. The Tesla belonged to a 21-year-old rising music artist known as David. His real name, David Anthony Burke. David? The same name Celeste had told her mother more than a year earlier, belonged to her boyfriend. If you follow music at all, you've heard of David. He broke out as a bedroom pop artist, the kind of story the internet loves. Young kid, making music alone, songs going viral, record deal, sold-out shows. His track, Romantic Homicide, became one of those songs that just spread. Millions of streams. A real moment. He was 21 years old at the time of his arrest. Young, successful, had what looked from the outside like the very beginning of a major career. But, according to prosecutors, something else had been happening beneath that public image, something that had started well before Celeste's body was ever found. At the time of Celeste's death, investigators say David was already under investigation for sexually abusing her. That investigation was reportedly underway before September 2025. Before the car, before the impound lot, before the smell. Which means, if prosecutors are right, Celeste didn't just know something dangerous. She was living inside it, and had been for over a year. In November 2025, 2 months after Celeste's body was found, David was publicly named as a suspect. You might have expected an immediate arrest. Most people did. It didn't happen. Instead, investigators kept building. In February 2026, David was identified as a target of a grand jury probe. Prosecutors presented evidence to that grand jury, arguing that the musician may have been involved in Celeste's death and that she may have been a victim of foul play. The word may in those filings is legal language, careful, deliberate, measured, but the direction was clear. 5 months after Celeste was found, 5 months of her family watching the news, waiting for a phone call, sitting with an arrest that hadn't happened yet. On April 16, 2026, the LAPD announced on X that David Anthony Burke, d4vd, had been taken into custody. Celeste's father, Jesus Rivas, said 3 words when he heard the news. Thank God, justice for Celeste. A few days after his arrest, Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman announced the formal charges. And they were serious. David was charged with first-degree murder with 3 special circumstance allegations attached: lying in wait, committing the crime for financial gain, and murdering a witness to prevent her from testifying. He was also charged with lewd and lascivious acts with a minor under 14 and with mutilation of human remains. DA Hochman laid out the prosecution's theory directly. d4vd had allegedly been sexually abusing Celeste for an extended period. And when Celeste, at some point, allegedly threatened to expose what he had been doing to her, threatened to go public, to speak, to tell the truth, prosecutors say he killed her to protect his career. According to the DA, David killed Celeste Rivas Hernandez so that she could not damage what he had built. That is the allegation. A 14-year-old girl's life weighed against a music career. Hochman stated that Celeste was last seen at David's home in April 2025. After that visit, by the prosecution's account, she was never seen alive again. David pleaded not guilty. His legal team will have its chance to respond. That is how the process works, and it is how it should work. But if convicted on the current charges first-degree murder with special circumstances, he faces either life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. Here's what I keep coming back to. Celeste Rivas Hernandez was reported missing in March 2024. She came back. She was reported missing again in April 2024. She called home once in May 2024 and then went silent. Her whereabouts in the weeks and months leading up to her death in September 2025, a gap of more than a year, have not been publicly disclosed. We don't fully know where she was. We don't know what she experienced during that time. We don't know who else knew. What we do know is that she was 13 years old when she first disappeared, that she told her mother she had a boyfriend named David, that residents in Lake Elsinore reported seeing her in the area after she was reported missing, and that at some point, according to prosecutors, she threatened to expose what was being done to her. That's not a girl who was silent. That's a girl who was trying to survive, and the system somewhere along the way did not catch her in time. I'm not assigning blame carelessly. Investigations take time. Missing persons cases are complicated, but a 14-year-old girl was allegedly being abused by a named adult for an extended period, and she ended up in the trunk of his car. That sequence of events demands a harder look at what failed and where. What do you think? Drop it in the comments because this is a conversation worth having. The case is now in the hands of the courts. D4vd's trial has not yet been scheduled. His legal team is building a defense. The prosecution is building its case. And somewhere in Lake Elsinore, the Rivas family is living with a grief that no verdict will fully touch. Jesus Rivas said thank God when he heard about the arrest. 3 words that carry an entire year of searching, waiting, and pain inside them. A father who never stopped fighting for his daughter, even after she was gone. Celeste's mother, who told TMZ about the boyfriend named David, who spoke publicly when she didn't have to. She is still here, still talking. Still making sure her daughter's name is attached to a face, a life, a story, not just a headline about a famous suspect. And there is still so much we don't know. The full timeline of the abuse, the specific circumstances of her death, what happened inside that home on the day she was last seen. Those details will come out, or they won't, in a courtroom. And we will be watching. If this story had you locked in from the beginning, if it made you stop scrolling, stop what you were doing, and just sit with it, then you already know what I'm going to say. Smash that like button. Subscribe to True Crime Chronicles so you don't miss what's coming next. We cover the cases that deserve more than a 60-second clip. And trust me, the next one is just as deep. Before I go, I have to leave you with this. Celeste Rivas Hernandez had a mother who noticed she was gone, a father who said thank God when justice finally moved, a family that spent over a year doing everything right, reporting, searching, begging for help, while their daughter was allegedly in the hands of someone who had the resources, the connections, and the image to keep her hidden. This case raises a question I genuinely want you to think about. When a young girl goes missing and there is a named adult in the picture, a named adult, she called her boyfriend. How long should it take for that name to become a starting point in the investigation? And does it matter how famous that adult is? Drop your honest take in the comments. I want to hear from you.